Picture this, a darkened movie theater, the air thick with anticipation, the hush of the crowd as the screen flickers to life. It's 1974, and Charles Bronson, with his weathered face and determined eyes, takes the stage as Paul Kersey in the movie that would go on to become a timeless classic, Death Wish. Do you remember the first time you saw this gritty, vigilante-driven masterpiece? The palpable tension that hung in the air, the moral dilemmas it stirred, or the action sequences that had your heart pounding. Perhaps you can still recall the scent of buttered popcorn and the soft rustle of candy wrappers, but more vividly, you remember the impact this film had on you. Now, as we step back in time to revisit this cinematic gem, we'll uncover some fascinating, behind-the-scenes details, and a few lesser-known facts that will rekindle your appreciation for this iconic piece of cinema. So, let's dive into the world of Death Wish and rediscover the magic of storytelling on the silver screen. Did you know that the film's director, Michael Winner, initially approached Jack Lemmon for the role of Paul Kersey before Charles Bronson stepped into the vigilante's shoes? Or that the movie's controversial themes and vigilantism sparked heated debates in the 1970s society, questioning the fine line between justice and vengeance? These intriguing nuggets of information and more await you as we unravel the mysteries behind Death Wish. So, without further ado, let's journey back to 1974, where the mean streets of New York City come alive through Charles Bronson's steely performance, and explore the legacy of Death Wish, a film that remains etched in cinematic history. It's time to unveil the hidden gems and untold stories of this iconic movie. The origins and controversy of Death Wish in 1974, a film titled Death Wish hit the silver screen, leaving a lasting impact on the world of cinema. But did you know that it almost had a different title, thanks to concerns about audience appeal? Death Wish wasn't the original choice. Dino De Laurentiis and Paramount considered naming it The Sidewalk Vigilante instead. They thought the word death in the title might scare away moviegoers. However, that decision was ultimately overridden. Death Wish was a film that sparked both interest and controversy. It's worth noting that this movie marked the only entry in the series produced by Dino De Laurentiis. Later, he sold the film rights to the Cannon Group for a reported $200,000. Interestingly, when Death Wish was in the early stages of development, there were other actors in the mix. Clint Eastwood was initially offered the role of Paul Kersey, the vigilante at the center of the story. Surprisingly, Eastwood declined, feeling that he might be poorly cast for the role. He believed that Gregory Peck would have been a better fit. However, the role ultimately went to Charles Bronson, and the film went on to become a significant part of his career. Death Wish challenged the conventions of its time and presented a vigilante justice theme that stirred debates among both critics and audiences. The film's success and the discussions it generated made it a noteworthy chapter in the history of cinema. And there you have it, a glimpse into the origins and controversies surrounding the 1974 movie Death Wish. It's a reminder that even the most iconic films can have interesting behind-the-scenes stories that shape their final form. Charles Bronson's reluctance turned box office hit, the making of Death Wish in 1974. The iconic film Death Wish almost had a different leading man. Initially, Charles Bronson wasn't sold on starring in the film. He thought the character was meant for Dustin Hoffman, describing it as a meek accountant. However, Michael Winner, the director, convinced Bronson to take the role by promising to transform the character into a more active and virile architect. Bronson eventually agreed, leading to the creation of one of his most famous roles. He said we could change the part to a more active and virile architect, and we'd all make a potful of money. The financial woes at United Artists caused the movie to go into turnaround, forcing producers Bobby Roberts and Hal Landers to sell their film rights. Despite these hurdles, Death Wish went on to become a box office hit and a classic in the vigilante genre. It was a gritty and controversial film that resonated with audiences during a tumultuous era. One subtle detail in the film is the magazine tempo that the protagonist, Paul Kersey, reads. This magazine bears a striking resemblance to Time magazine. Tempo is the Italian word for time, adding a layer of symbolism to the movie's narrative. Death Wish remains a significant part of film history, not only for its impact on Charles Bronson's career, but also for its exploration of urban vigilantism and its commentary on the societal issues of the 1970s. It's a testament to how a film can overcome initial challenges and achieve lasting success. In 1974, the film Death Wish gained notoriety for its gritty portrayal of vigilante justice. While it's well known that Charles Bronson played the iconic role of Paul Kersey, not many are aware that Burt Lancaster, George C. Scott, and Frank Sinatra were initially offered the role but turned it down. The film's success helped cement Bronson as a legendary action star. The production of Death Wish faced harsh weather conditions. Filming took place during a bone-chilling winter, with temperatures dropping to freezing levels. Crew members endured such extreme cold that their eyes water froze, making it necessary for them to wear face masks to combat the bitter cold. This added to the film's authentic, cold, and gritty atmosphere. A little-known fact about Death Wish is that it featured a scene with Vincent Gardenia and Olympia Dukakis in a squad room. They later shared the screen as husband and wife in the 1987 hit movie Moonstruck, showcasing the enduring connections that often exist in the world of cinema. Death Wish remains a classic in the realm of vigilante films, and these intriguing tidbits shed light on some of the lesser-known aspects of its creation. The 1974 movie Death Wish, starring Charles Bronson, is set in the crime-ridden streets of New York City. Although released in 1974, according to information in Death Wish 4, The Crackdown, the movie is said to take place in 1976. This vigilante film follows the story of Paul Kersey, a man who turns to vigilantism after his wife is murdered and his daughter is sexually assaulted. Kersey takes the law into his own hands, targeting muggers and criminals on the city's dangerous streets. The film also includes a notable quote when Jainchill meets Paul Kersey in his office. Jainchill says, "I don't know who said it, but someone once said don't look back because something might be gaining on you." This quote is attributed to Leroy Satchel Paige, a legendary baseball player known for his wisdom and humor. The idea for Death Wish came about after Charles Bronson and director Michael Winner had just finished working on The Stone Killer in 1973. They were discussing future projects when Bronson asked, "What do we do next?" Winner's response was, "The best script I've got is Death Wish. It's about a man whose wife and daughter are mugged, and he goes out and shoots muggers." Bronson's simple yet powerful reply was, "I'd like to do that," to which Winner clarified, "The film." Bronson's final answer, "No, shoot muggers." Death Wish remains an iconic film that explores the theme of vigilantism and one man's quest for justice in a city plagued by crime. The movie's impact on the action genre is still felt today, and its legacy endures. In conclusion, Death Wish is a 1974 film with a storyline set in 1976, featuring Charles Bronson as a vigilante seeking justice. The film includes a memorable quote attributed to Leroy Satchel Paige and was born out of a conversation between Charles Bronson and director Michael Winner. It remains a significant part of cinematic history. As we draw the curtains on our cinematic journey through the riveting landscape of the 1974 classic, Death Wish, I invite you to take a moment to reflect on the profound impact this film has had on your own cinematic journey. Charles Bronson's iconic portrayal of Paul Kersey, a man who transforms into a vigilante seeking justice in a crime-ridden New York City, serves as an enduring testament to the complex nature of morality and retribution. Have you ever found yourself pondering the blurred lines between right and wrong, justice and revenge, as you followed Kersey's relentless pursuit of the city's criminals? Or perhaps the film sparked conversations about the concept of vigilantism and its consequences. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your cherished memories, and your unique perspective on Death Wish. Share your favorite moments, your insights, or the ways this film may have influenced your perspective on society, justice, and personal responsibility. Thank you for taking this cinematic journey with us, and for allowing Death Wish to resonate in your heart and mind. Your engagement enriches the tapestry of film culture and discussion. We look forward to reading your thoughts and reminiscences. So, don't hesitate to share your thoughts. The stage is yours. Until next time, keep those film reels turning. And remember, every story told on screen has the power to shape our own narratives.